I'm Lisa. I'm the Barefoot Pampered Chef. And tomorrow I'm going to do a lot of demos. I want to invite my family over for a really nice Saturday night dinner. And what I'm going to do tomorrow night has to do a little bit with what I'm going to do today. So tomorrow I'm actually going to make some really amazing cheddar rosemary rolls. And we're going to use our brownie pan to make them, to kind of separate them out so I don't have to separate them out on a sheet. And today I'm going to make a compound butter that we can use for those rolls. So a compound butter is pretty much just a butter that has other ingredients added into it. You can do a savory butter, you can do a sweet butter, you can pretty much do anything you want. Today we're going to use our manual processor, and we're going to take some ingredients and add them to this butter that you have here. I'm going to put them in the refrigerator overnight, and that way they can sit and they can all marry together, and they'll be really, really good for our rolls tomorrow night. So the first thing that I can do, it seems like every time I start these videos, my cats start fighting. I don't know what it is. So the first thing that we're going to do, this is a lemon basil butter. I love anything with fresh herbs in it, as you can see. You know, I just love my fresh herbs. So the first thing that we're going to add to our manual processor is 1 cup, so this is my 1 cup prep bowl of loosely packed basil leaves. Now, because I have my own basil plant, I've actually included some of the basil flowers, which have a lot of flavor in them as well. So that's why it kind of doesn't look all like leaves. So we're just going to throw those in there. Here's a pretty little basil flower. I love them. They smell so good. So to that, I'm going to add about 1 teaspoon of lemon zest. Now you can find a zester on Pampered Chef. You can just run it over the lemon. It's really quite simple. The zest is the outside of the peel, not the white part. That's the pith. So if you get the pith in there, it's going to have like a bitter flavor to it, where the outside, or the zest, has more of the essential oils of the lemon, and so it's going to bring out that flavor and just make it pop. So we had 1 teaspoon of the zest. We're going to have 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. So I just juiced it on my little juicer here. I'm going to pour that in. It's approximately half a lemon if you have a rather large lemon, which I do. And then the last thing that we're going to add to this before we process it for a little bit is 1/4 teaspoon of coarse ground black pepper. So there's my 1/4 teaspoon, and I really, really love black pepper, and so I'm going to add a little bit more. I don't think you can ever go wrong with a little bit of black pepper. And what's really interesting about black pepper is everyone knows the hype nowadays about turmeric or curcumin being an anti-cancer type of an herb or a spice, which is true. The only thing is it needs the piperazine, 1 compound in black pepper, in order to work. So that's the great thing about black pepper, is sometimes just adding it can actually boost the flavors and the properties of the other things in your recipe. So we're going to pop this lid on really quick and give this some processing. Because when you add your butter, it won't chop up the big pieces once the butter's added. So you want it as fine as possible. This is also the same concept as making a pesto, except for the fact that you're not adding any nut. So it's getting there. I'm going to process it maybe 1 or 2 more times. It smells deliciously basil-y and lemony. Okay, so that's fairly well processed. I'll let you have a look here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my butter. Now, I've got some Kerrygold butter, just because when I do compound butters, I like to use some of the best butter available. I always keep unsalted butter of any kind, just for baking and other things. And with unsalted butter, you can add the salt that you want afterwards. You don't have to rely on the salt of the butter. So I'm just gonna add these in chunks. This has just been sitting out for a few minutes, so it's not quite room temperature, but it's not freezing either. So I'm gonna pop this on again, and we're gonna start this going. Sometimes you might want your butter a little bit softer. I don't think I left mine out enough, but it's going. So we might have to knock this down just a little bit. Oops. Quick fix. So if you use a more softened butter, this is obviously easier. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it sit and let my butter soften up. But you kind of get the concept. It's going to get this nice white appearance with the specks of the basil in it. Like I said, nothing is an emergency in a kitchen setting. I'm just going to let this sit out for a little bit longer, let that make it a little bit softer, and then I'm going to blend it up. What you can do is you can store that in a little cup or something with a lid on it so it doesn't get the other flavors of the refrigerator in it. You can store it in the freezer. The other thing that I like to do is I like to take a roll of saran wrap or some sort of a plastic wrap, make this into a nice little log, and then wrap it up really tightly, almost like a candy that you'd wrap up the ends. And that way you can cut it into little nice pats for everybody, and it's really easy to serve. So tune in tomorrow when I'm going to be making a wine braised pork. I'm also going to be making cheddar biscuits with fresh rosemary. And tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to be making a really nice chicken salad. So if you want anything here, the manual processor, the prep bowls, even the little herb stripper, which I'll show you more tomorrow, the juicer, or the nesting spoons, or even this recipe, which comes as compound butters in our Pampered Chef manual food processor menu, then go to www.pamperedchef.biz/Lisa Wright, LISAWRIGHT. And we're gonna let you set for a little bit. Thanks.